fantasy. His number too high, then I'm probably fading him. He been on the road, he gon' eat up my salary. I hit a buy, he gon' lie before lock. Play back to back, then I probably won't pick on the DFS bachelor, good as it gets. Bit a few liners and hit me a leg. He had a good game, but it might be a trick. Log in the Slack so I know who to pick. Sharing our liners, we all gon' get rich. New to this game, you should come to the pad. You might want some cash and get a good laugh. DFS sports, we gon' run up a bag. He heard every game and it's making me mad. You buying your lineups, I think you a cheater. DFS bachelor, he the new leader. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Bachelor Pad. I, of course, am your host of DFS Bachelor, and we're going to go over our Fanduel and Draftkings NBA slate for Thursday, January 30th. It's a 6-game slate, kind of an ugly 6-game slate, if I'm being honest. Not a whole lot for me to love in this slate, but regardless, we're going to cover it. First things first, thank you for all your support. Cheers to you all. Grab a coffee and Bailey's. Hope you enjoy the show. I really do appreciate you all making me a part of your day every day. All the kind comments, positive feedback, helping each other out in the comments section, the whole thing. I'm really lucky. There's a lot of people who have shows on YouTube who don't have their audience treat them as kindly as you all treat me. So thank you so much. I truly do appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the team. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Get access to all of our content. I'll have our Fantasy Draft NBA video out as soon as this one comes out. Later this afternoon, I will have the single game Super Bowl video as well, so that'll be out today as well. Also, by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and leaving a comment in the comment section, you qualify for our weekly $25 PayPal giveaway, and that is sponsored by Draft Dashboard. Draft Dashboard is where we're going over all the stats, projections, points per minute, points per dollar, hit percentage, setting player pool in the lineup optimizer, mass lineup generator, cash game optimizer, etc. Lots of good stuff there. You can get access to the tool, the research, and my player pool for every sport simply by clicking that link in the video description below. You can try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1. So let's jump into it. We got a few back-to-backs. Sacramento is on a back-to-back. Utah on a back-to-back. I think that's it. Sacramento and Utah. It feels like it's more when you start going through this first thing in the morning. You're just like, shit, more back-to-backs? Fucking NBA. Anyways, I digress. So let's start at the top here at point guard. We got Ben Simmons, 9-3 on Fanduel, 8-9 on Draftkings. Atlanta, 24th against opposing point guards. In his last 5 games against Atlanta, his only game less than 50 was his most recent game where he got a 31. The previous 4 games before that, a 57, a 58, a 64, and a 50. I expect a big game from Ben Simmons tonight. Now, Joel Embiid does appear like he's going to play tonight, so that could hurt his usage a little bit. We'll have to see how limited Joel Embiid is. We'll get to him when we get to the center position, but I do like Ben Simmons tonight. Next, right below that, Kemba Walker. 7-9 on Fanduel and on Draftkings. Jason Tatum could still be out tonight, which exponentially helps the production of Kemba Walker. Golden State allowing the second most fantasy points in the league to opposing point guards. He was on a nice little tear before that last game of 34. He's got 50-point upside. Look, we know Kemba Walker. He was last year's R. Kelly Window Licker Award winner, if you remember, because he will piss all over your lineup. 34 his last game out. Nothing great against Golden State. 3 of his last 5, 39 or above. But again, it's a different Golden State team, etc. I think Kemba Walker's in a good spot tonight. Kyle Lowry against Cleveland. Cleveland allowing the most points in the league to opposing point guards. He's 7-4 on Fanduel, 7-5 on Draftkings. No Marc Gasol tonight as well. His last time out against Cleveland, a 39. The game before that, a 40. In the low 7s with 50-point upside against a bad defense. Sign me up for that. For a little bit of value, not a ton of value at point guard. Monty Morris is at 4-4 on Fanduel, 5-3 on Draftkings. Utah 9th against opposing point guards. He did put up a 35 his last time out against Utah. And Ish Smith, no Jordan McRae for Washington, could mean a few more minutes off the bench for Ish Smith in the backcourt. He's 5K on Fanduel, 4-6 on Draftkings. Charlotte 7th against point guards, and it is a pace-down game for Washington. But you look at his last 3 against Charlotte, a 31, a 34, and a 23. I like that price on Draftkings a lot. It's starting to get rarer and rarer these days to find players cheaper on Draftkings than on Fanduel. It used to not be the case, but I do like Ish Smith quite a bit tonight. We'll keep an eye on see if Pat Beverly is going to be limited in any sort of fashion. He's under 5K here at 4-9 on both sites. Could be someone, if he indeed is going to see a full workload, then there you go. So many sex tape titles. He will be there as well. Doc Rivers is one of those coaches that you come back from injury, he will play you a ton of minutes. He used to do that notoriously with Blake Griffin. You'd think he was going to be limited coming back from an injury, and bam, he'd play 38 minutes. Doc Rivers doesn't mess around when it comes to that. Let's go to shooting guards. Bradley Beal at the top, 9K on Fanduel, 9.4 on DraftKings. Charlotte 14th against opposing shooting guards. We talked about it. No Jordan McRae. Could be even more minutes, more usage for Bradley Beal, who already plays a ton of minutes. In his last 5 against Charlotte, he's got 3 games over 53, including a 66 and a 55. He's got a 45, and then he does have that 33, which is Bradley Beal in a nutshell. But big time upside. Of course, you'll worry about the pace down nature of the game, but should be some extra minutes usage. Again, no Jordan McRae. I like Bradley Beal tonight. I do like Fred VanVleet. I kind of like D'Angelo Russell. I like that price on FanDuel at 7.4. VanVleet again against the bad Cleveland defense. But I like Donovan Mitchell. I just think the price is too cheap. Now, Denver, it's a back-to-back for Utah on the road in Denver, so it makes it exponentially more difficult. But at 7.2 with the 50-point upside, you have to like it. If you look at his last 3 against Denver, a 61, a 37, and then a 62. Matchup that he kind of likes. Again, back-to-back in Denver is tougher, so pivoting to a VanVleet or a Devontae Graham against Washington, I don't mind either of those scenarios. Devontae Graham on FanDuel is too cheap at 6.6. I'm not in love with that 7.7 price on DraftKings, but 6.6 on FanDuel. His last 2 against Washington, a 42 and a 47. Lou Williams, another FanDuel play over DraftKings. He's 5.6 on FanDuel. Now, they do expect Paul George to play tonight, so that certainly lowers his upside a little bit, but he still has massive upside. At 5.6, it's simply too cheap. Sacramento 28th against opposing shooting guards. He's 6.8 on DraftKings. I'll still have some exposure there, but not as much as I will on FanDuel. 35, a 40, and a 28 in his last 3 against Sacramento. And then another guy on a back-to-back, but seems like maybe last night he got a stroke back. That's what she said. There we go. Bogdan Bogdanovic, 4.3 on FanDuel, 4.8 on DraftKings. He's starting over Buddy Hield. Now, Buddy Hield's been playing really well. He's kind of been on a tear except for last night, but Bogdanovic in the starting lineup, going to play in the high 20s to mid 30s in minutes, has that 35, 40-point upside that we saw last night, so I could certainly go there for some value as well. Let's go to small forwards. Horrible position for me. I like Siakam at the top, 8.6 on FanDuel, 8.4 on DraftKings. Cleveland 12th against small forwards, power forwards. A 42 his last time out against Cleveland, 50-point upside. We know Siakam is in a good spot tonight. Paul George, will just have to see if he's limited in any way. I'm not ready to jump on the Paul George train as of yet. I mean, it was a hamstring strain, so you got to wonder if they're going to limit him to 25 or 30 minutes or so. Even though, like we said, Doc Rivers does like to unleash his players when they're back from injury. We'll have to see what they do with Paul George. But I do like Tobias Harris, despite the fact that Embiid's back. Atlanta, 26th against opposing small forwards. 40, 50-point upside. He's also got that 25-point floor, which is a little bit scary. 6'9 and 7K. I could go Tobias Harris against a bad Atlanta defense. Next, with the absence of Jordan McRae, I do expect him to see more minutes, more usage, etc. I think Troy Brown for Washington's in a good spot. 5-1 on FanDuel. 5.6 on DraftKings. Charlotte 27th against opposing small forwards. He's got 40-point upside. Should see a few more minutes with McRae out, and he'll be more of a focal point of that second unit. I think Troy Brown's in a nice spot tonight. And for some value, how about DeAndre Hunter? Now look, he can come out and get you a 16 or a 14, which he has done twice in his last 5 games. Or he can get you a 32, a 34, or 28, which he's done 3 times over the last 5 games. So there's a wide range of outcomes here. Philly is 3rd against small forwards. He put up a 25 his last time out, first time out, really, against the Sixers at 4.5 and 4.7 with that kind of upside and not a ton of great value. I could certainly go there. I know Harrison Barnes is tempting at his price, but I'll probably pass. Nick Batum in and out of the starting lineup. Charlotte is very random. And as you remember from the other night, they're very sketchy with their news. Some guy will be in, then he'll be out, then he'll be in. Charlotte's a fucking hot mess, man. It's a hot mess. They're a very frustrating team this year. But Nick Batum, if he's back in the starting lineup, could have some value down there as well. Let's go to power forwards. At power forward, I just think it's too expensive for Kawhi with Paul George coming back, but I'll have some exposure in tournaments. I like the price for Kevin Love. 6-8 on Fanduel, 7-2 on DraftKings. Toronto 15th against opposing power forwards. More importantly, no Marc Gasol. Makes them exponentially weaker defensively in the front court. I think Kevin Love has some upside tonight. 38, a 29, and a 20 his last three against Toronto. But again, without Gasol, at home could be a game for Kevin Love, and under 7K is just too cheap. 7-2 even, I think, is too cheap for Kevin Love with that 50-point upside. Next, guy who's been absolutely on fire, Jeremy Grant. 6K on FanDuel, 6-4 on DraftKings. Just look what he's doing. Look at his last 5 games. 32, 42, 36, 36, and 41. Jeremy Grant has absolutely been on fire. He won't be overly owned. I think he's a nice play for tournaments. I also like Draymond Green a lot. Seems to be kind of picking up the minutes. I expect an inspired effort from Draymond Green, especially with what the NBA community is going through right now. 5-9 on both sides. Just put up a 49 for me the other day. His last 5 games against Boston, only 1 game under 36. Hell of a spot. Boston 17th against opposing power forwards. We know he can fill up the stat sheet. I like Draymond Green a lot tonight. We talked about the absence of Marc Gasol. Well, apparently FanDuel did not get the memo. DraftKings did. FanDuel did not. You got Serge Ibaka at 5-6 on FanDuel. He's 7-1 on DraftKings, a big-time difference. I like him a ton on FanDuel. He's probably going to be pretty chalky at his price. We're projecting, 40% ownership right now, and it's pretty early. But it's super cheap. He's going to see the extra minutes. He's going to start at center with Gasol gone, so of course Serge Ibaka is in play. And for some value in that same game, not only is Marc Gasol out, but so is Rondé Hollis-Jefferson. So Chris Boucher, although I don't think he'll start, they'll probably go Norman Powell, Anunoby, and then Ibaka with Van Fleet and Kyle Lowry. But Chris Boucher is going to be the first big man off the bench, so we could see some extra minutes. And we've seen Chris Boucher, when he gets some minutes, he can really explode. 4-4 on FanDuel. There you go. Title of the sex tape right there. 4-4 on FanDuel, 4-3 on DraftKings. Chris Boucher could be a nice, interesting value play tonight. Let's go to centers. At center, so Embiid is back tonight. He's 9K on FanDuel, 9-3 on DraftKings. Atlanta does struggle against centers. He's got a 64 his last time out against Atlanta. It's a hand injury he's returning from, hand surgery. So really, it's just about conditioning for Joel Embiid. We'll have to see if he's on any sort of minutes limit. If he's full go, then I'll certainly have exposure to him. It's something that we'll just have to keep an eye on throughout the day. You can follow me on Twitter at DFS Bachelor. As soon as I know, you guys will know. And that's that. Tristan Thompson against Toronto. 5K on FanDuel, 5-4 on DraftKings. Now, Toronto, number 1 in the league against opposing centers. There's no doubt that Marc Gasol is a terrific defensive center. But again, he's not going to be there tonight, so Tristan Thompson has an easier path to success. His last 3 against Toronto, a 48, a 31, and a 25. I always get Tristan Kardashian wrong. I really do. He really pisses me off, but he should have a nice advantage tonight. I'll probably roll the dice again, and he'll probably fuck me over, but, and then I'll be cussing him out. He's very frustrating. That's what the Kardashians do to basketball players, fucking ruin them. Even though I know that was a couple years ago, I'm well aware, for those of you who feel the need to give me all the information every time, just so you know. Next, Marquise Chris for some value. 4-8 on FanDuel, 4-5 on DraftKings. The trade of Willie Cauley-Stein, etc. Marquise Chris is going to get some starts. Kevon Looney is resuming practice, but he's not ready to play yet. So Marquise Chris could very well find himself in the starting lineup again. Boston 17th against power forwards. They're not very good against centers either. That 4-5 price on DraftKings I think is nice and cheap. I could certainly go there. And Thomas Bryant, I've talked about him a couple of times this year. We just talked about him last week, saying has these games where he just blows up and goes off. He's 4-4 on FanDuel. It's too cheap. 5-2 on DraftKings. He played 31 minutes his last game out, put up a 43. His last time out against Charlotte, he put up a 37. Charlotte is allowing the most fantasy points in the league to opposing centers, so I do think Thomas Bryant makes for an interesting value option. So that's our look at each position, again, here early in the morning. If you want access to this tool, my player pool as it expands throughout the day, the cheat sheet, etc., click that link in the video description below. You can try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1. When you do, how you find my player pool is you click the Watch Players tab over here on the left. That will be your watch players. You can do that from the home screen as well. You'll see a blue box at the top that says Watch DFS Bachelor's Picks. as well as a timestamp from when I last updated it. And I had some window liquor like whining the other day that Giannis was still listed as an active player once he was ruled out. If you would have opened your eyes, anytime a player is ruled out throughout the day, even if they're not removed from the player list, I put their projections down to 0. So if you can't figure out that you're not supposed to pay $12,000 for a guy projected at 0 points, I mean, again, I can't fix the stupid. So, Q and piss off. There we go. There's that. So now my player pool is highlighted. You can use it in the lineup optimizer, the mass lineup generator, etc. Click that right up here. You can set your exposures from the position optimizer screen and lock in exposures throughout for however, if you're running 100 lineups, 50 lineups, however you are doing it. So here's an early sample lineup. We got Kemba, Ish Smith, Lou Williams, Bogdanovich, Harris, Siakam, Kevin Love, Serge Ibaka, Joel Embiid. I think that's a really solid lineup. Again, we're not sure if there's going to be any limitations for Joel Embiid. So if you wanted to come down here to a Tristan Kardashian and then upgrade, like I think Lou Williams is just too cheap there, but upgrade from Bogdanovich, Devontae Graham at 6'6". We still have 2,000. So you can come up from Kevin Love if you so desire. Because playing Love and Thompson seems a little bit dicey to me. So pick one of the two. I guess we'll just go here. We'll go to like a Montrezl Harrell. Walker, Smith, Williams, Graham, Harris, Siakam, Love, Ibaka, Harrell. I think that's a really solid lineup on Fanduel. Could save that there. Let's go to Draftkings. Again, these are just a sample lineup. I try explaining this to people. There's a lot of people that just tune in, go to the end, lock in the video, and then go, hey, man, it didn't win. Yeah, that's like, man, talk about the poster child for birth control. Seriously. All right. Draftkings. Monty Morris, Bogdanovich, Draymond, Love, Chris, Smith, Beal, Walker. So I'm making a lot of changes here. First of all, I'm not playing 5-3 for Monty Morris. I'll maybe pay the 4-3 over there on FanDuel or whatever. 4-4, but I'm not paying 5-3 for him. So maybe a Kyle Lowry at 7-5. Bradley Beal at 9-4. We'll have to come down a little bit of savings here. Norman Powell at Davis Bertans. Lots of options there. Will Barton at 6K. Here's Troy Brown at 5-7. Get a little bit of savings. Then we can, I like Ish Smith at 4-6. Now we've got 2,000 in salary to mess with. Kemba Walker's here in the utility spot. Lots of different ways you can go. Remember, click the link. Try it for 30 days. Create your own lineups. Compare them to mine, etc., etc. To put Lou Will in there. Lots of ways you can go. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Be part of our weekly $25 PayPal giveaway. Cheers to you all. I really do appreciate you all making me a part of your day. Be sure to check out our fantasy draft video coming up right after this. And later this afternoon, I will have our NFL Super Bowl video up as well. Thank you all again. Goodbye, folks.